Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about the access cavity preparation, biomechanical preparation and obturation of the maxillary first premolar. Let's first understand the anatomy of the maxillary first premolar. So here you see there are two cusps are there. One is the buccal and another one is the palatal cusp. It has two roots, which is a birooted. It has two roots. Its average length is approximately 21.5 millimeter. It is 21.5 millimeter. Now, this tooth is the transitional tooth between the maxillary central incisor and the molars. And the pulp chamber here in this case is ovoid in shape. Okay, there are two pulp horns. One is under the buccal cusp, and another one is the under the palatal cusp. One more thing I want to make you understand about the maxillary second premolar also. If you see the difference here, this is our maxillary second premolar. The only difference is that the anatomy, the occlusal anatomy is almost similar with that of the maxillary first premolar, except that the root is fused here. Okay, so the average length is again it is almost similar with that of the maxillary first premolar, that is about 21 to 22 millimeter. So coming back to the maxillary first premolar, here. So there are two pulp horns. One is under the buccal cusp and second one is the under the palatal cusp. Now, to make the access cavity preparation, we have to mark the point at the center of the groove. This is the center of the groove. This is the central groove. This is the triangular fossa, mesial triangular fossa, and the distal triangular fossa. So, I am marking a point here in the center, like this. Okay. Now, we'll mark the another point at the center of the buccal cusp in the midpoint, like this. Like this, and at a point in the midpoint of the lingual cusp also. So here the lingual cusp is smaller than the buccal cusp. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll join these 3 points. I'll join like this, 3 points with a line, and now the border, the buccal border and the lingual border of the access cavity, it should not extend to this preparation. Okay. So now I would like to tell you the armamentarium which I am going to use here. So now I would like to show you the armamentarium here for the access cavity preparation. We have two burrs. One is the round burr, small round burr, and the other one is the tapered cylindrical, or we can call it as a tapered Fisher burr. So here we see the point of entry. So if you look at the tooth anatomy, it is always the center of the occlusion. Okay. And the burr orientation is always perpendicular to the occlusal surface. The burr direction, it should be parallel to the long axis of this tooth. So in this way, we'll start with the access cavity preparation. So now here you see the position, we position the burr perpendicular to the occlusal surface, this manner, and then we'll start with the cutting. Okay. So you see I have cut through the enamel and I have made a small notch here. Now keeping the burr in the same position, we'll cut deeper into the dentine to reach the pulp chamber till we feel the burr drop is seen. Okay. So now I'm going deeper now. So here we see there is a burr drop here. Now with the help of a serrated probe, this is a Williams periodontal probe here, you can see here. Now with the help of this serrated probe, we know the depth of the pulp chamber, and then we take it out and we place it against the tooth. Now you can observe the location of the pulp chamber, which is roughly at this cervical 1/3 of the crown. All right. So after this, we'll enter the chamber, and which is the next step is the de-roofing of the pulp chamber, so that we can get the straight line access. So now with the help of this tapered cylindrical burr, I'll de-roof the pulp chamber. So we'll take the tapered cylindrical burr for de-roofing the chamber. The most important thing here is that while I cut this dentine, I should maintain the depth of the burr. If I do not do that, I will cut deeper and I can cause the perforation. So I move the burr in the buccolingual direction alongside the wall of the pulp chamber so that I am able to de-roof it completely. So now with the help of the endodontic explorer, this is the endodontic explorer, and then an excavator, we excavate any debris which is present inside the pulp chamber. We'll remove it along the wall side, of the tooth. Any overhang you see should be removed from the roof of the pulp chamber so that we can achieve the direct access into the pulp chamber. Okay, so now here you see two orifices. One is the buccal orifice, and the other is the palatal orifice here. So now I will take number 10 size file from the lingual direction. This is the lingual direction, moving ahead to the buccal canal here, like this. Okay, and to check the patency of the canal. Similarly, I'll check the other side also. I'll move from the buccal direction and moving towards the lingual canal, just to check the patency of the canal. So in this manner, in this way, in a watch winding manner, I'm checking the patency of the canal so that I can manage to achieve the straight line access for both the buccal as well the lingual canal. Now after this, the next step is the biomechanical preparation. For that, we have to negotiate the canal with the help of a small size file. This is a small size file, number 10. So I'm negotiating the canal properly. We can take any smaller file like number 10 or number 8 or number 6 file for negotiation. So we do it in this watch winding manner in both the canals to see whether the file is reaching till the desired working length or not. So in the radiograph, the file, it should be exactly 0.5 to 1 millimeter short from the radiographic apex. If we find that the file is 1 millimeter beyond the apex radiographically, in that case, we need to reduce working length by about 2 millimeter. So my length would be 1 millimeter short of the apex. So now this is the radiograph of the working length determination we have taken. And you see here the apex, it is 0.5 to 1 millimeter short of the radiographic apex. And there is no obstruction in achieving the working length. And the file is going in the straight line axis. So once the working length is achieved, we'll start with the biomechanical preparation. So we see here my working length which is achieved for the palatal canal is 20 millimeter and for the buccal canal is 18.5 millimeter. So we'll start with the pulp extirpation with the help of small size file, that would be from 10, 15 or 20 size file. So in this manner, I'll start with the biomechanical preparation with the small hand files. So for the pulp extirpation or biomechanical preparation, we take the help of this EDTA gel. Okay, so it's a lubricant basically used for creating the lubrication in the canal, and it helps in the removal of the smear layer. So in this manner, similarly we'll do it for the buccal canal and for the palatal canal. And keep irrigating with the sodium hypochlorite solution. So you see here, I am not wedging my file, it is passively placed, and make sure you have to keep on moving your file inside the canal. and keep wiping with the help of the cotton pellet. So you see here, my next size file is a larger size file than the number 10. It is number 15. Take the lubricant and start preparing into the canal in a watch winding manner. This is I'm doing in the palatal canal first, and in the similar fashion I'll do it in the buccal canal also. So keep irrigating the solution, sodium hypochlorite. So keep irrigating here in the buccal, in the palatal canal. Then we'll take the next size file, which is number 20, and in the similar way we'll start extirpating the pulp from the canal. So now you see I have prepared till the size number 20, and then I'll irrigate the canal. One thing we need to remember is that for the irrigation protocol, we first have to use sodium hypochlorite solution, followed by the use of this 17% of EDTA solution, and the final watch should be with the saline solution. Now, after doing the hand filing, we'll start with the preparation with the help of these hand protapers. This is a protaper gold file, and we'll start with the cornel flaring now. First step is the cornel flaring. So we'll start placing in the palatal canal first, in this watch winding, rotate it and then retract it. Similarly, we'll do it for the other canal also. Place it like this and move inside the canal and pull it back, retract it. So after this, we'll irrigate the canal. See that I'm moving my tip of the needle here, and we'll do the recapitulation with the help of a small size file. So never forget this step of recapitulation, otherwise you will see the debris, it gets accumulate in the apical third part. You see my file is going till the working length, and do check the stopper, the rubber stopper over here, it should be always at the reference point. Similarly, we'll clean the palatal canal also, do the recapitulation properly. And then we irrigate the canals. So after doing the cornel flaring, we'll move to the next step. We'll start using with the number S1. So we have 2 shaper files and 3 finisher files. This is the purple file, that is S1. So I'll start using this file. So please note that while preparing the canal, the rubber stopper, it should be reaching the reference point like this, and the reference point should remain the same. So once it is loose, we again do the recapitulation with the small number file. This is a small number file, number 20, and we gradually take the file to the working length like this, and then we do the irrigation. After this, I'll move to the next file, that is the Shaper 2, S2, that is the white file, and I'll start moving my file in this fashion, in the watch winding pattern, and then I'll retract the file. So this S2 is mainly used to prepare the middle of the canal, and it is then again taken till the working length, and the further preparing the canal in a similar pattern like file S1. After this, we'll repeat the same step, that is recapitulation, and then we irrigate the canal. So first irrigate it nicely and use your number 20 file or any smaller file for recapitulation in between the Protaper hand files. So once we prepare both the canals with size S2, we will shift to the size F1. Finisher files I have. This is the first file of the finisher, F1. So in the finisher files, we have 3 files, F1, F2 and F3. So how do we decide first whether we have to prepare till size F1 or F2 or the F3 file? This is the F3 file. So this is decided like my F1 file is going till the apical portion with a little bit of the resistance. You see there's a resistance is here. Then my master apical file would be F1. But if my file is loose enough in the apical portion, then instead of taking F1, we'll make my master apical file, I'll take F2 as my master apical file. So here I can feel a little bit of resistance in the apical portion. So my master apical file would be F1. So once I'm done with my F1, I do the recapitulation. I will do the recapitulation again with the smaller size file. Similarly, I will be preparing the remaining buccal canal also. And once we have prepared all the 3 canals with the finisher files, I will take a radiograph with the master apical gutta-percha. So here I take the F1 GP and we place it inside the prepared canal, and then we'll take the radiograph. So in this manner, I will place my F1 cone inside the canal and this way, and I will take the radiograph. So now when we are placing the GP cones here, we always push the GP like this so that we can get the tug back. So how can we check the tug back? So when you are pulling back this GP like this, you feel little resistance like this. So this is called as a tug back, so that there should be a complete seal at the apical third. Now we'll take the radiograph here. After this, we'll take this radiograph here. We see the master cone is not going beyond the apex. Here, it is not going beyond the apex. And now we can proceed with the obturation process. So it starts with the drying the canal with the help of the paper points. So we'll put the paper points in both the canals like this. And once the paper points are wet, we need to remove it, and the same procedure can be repeated with the next size paper point. So we'll again place it inside the canal until we get the dry canals. So this manner we'll place it inside and we'll wait for the dryness of the canal. So after removing it, we'll proceed with the obturation process with the help of a sealer. Now we'll proceed with the obturation Here we have taken a zinc oxide eugenol sealer, and we have mixed it in a equal amount of a zinc oxide powder and a eugenol paste. We get a paste like this, and with the help of a we can take a master cone, or we can take a help of a file also, the last apical file, and we place it inside the canal. So in this manner I have placed it, and we're putting inside the canal like this. So now we'll share off the GP present in the chamber. For that, we need to heat the instrument. Make sure the instrument should be red hot, and whole of the GP from the pulp chamber should be removed in one go. So here I'm placing my instrument and cutting in a one go. This way. Again heat the instrument and remove the remaining GP. Present in the pulp chamber. I'll remove it with a little pressure. With a little pressure, I'm removing it from the surface of the wall. Red hot. Like this. Take a cold end and condense it slightly. Clean the floor with a small cotton pellet. So here you see the floor where both the canals are obturated, so that there is no extra GP present inside the chamber. And now we'll take the radiograph, and the remaining tooth structure will be filled with the temporary filling. On the next visit, we can do the post-endodontic. We fill the tooth with the post-endodontic material. Thank you.